The next morning, as Anya was tidying up her apartment, a knock echoed from the door. She opened it to find her neighbor, Mrs. Petrov, standing there with a look of concern and disgust on her face.
Anya, there's a terrible smell coming from your apartment. It's like something's rotting,
Mrs. Petrov said, covering her nose. Anya's twisted smile returned.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Why don't you come in and see for yourself?
Mrs. Petrov hesitated, but eventually stepped inside. Her eyes widened in shock as she took in the scene. Broken and burned pictures of Silver 7 leaders littered the floor, their charred faces almost unrecognizable. The walls were adorned with large amounts of Barney paraphernalia, from posters to plush toys. The Barney show played on the TV, its cheerful songs a stark contrast to the macabre scene. Several felt dinosaur suits hung on the walls, each one looking disturbingly lifelike. Mrs. Petrov gasped, her hand flying to her mouth.
What is this? I have to call the Ministry of Defense right away.
Before she could move, the glowing purple circle on the floor pulsed and Barney's grotesque form emerged. His felt arms reached out, grabbing Mrs. Petrov before she could scream. With a malevolent grin, he shoved her into a dinosaur suit. Her screams of agony filled the room as her body melted and rotted, repurposed into the felt stuffing of the suit. Barney's voice boomed with laughter as he turned to Anya.
You've done well, Anya. Now, watch as we expand our influence.
The twisted congregation began to emerge from the circle, their felt bodies filling the room. They moved with eerie precision, slipping out of Anya's apartment and into the hallways of the complex. Doors were broken down, and screams echoed through the building as the congregation forced residents into dinosaur suits. Each victim writhed in agony, their bodies twisted and repurposed, their minds consumed by Barney's malevolent influence. Anya watched with glee as the apartment complex fell into chaos. The once peaceful building was now a nightmarish scene, filled with the sounds of torment and transformation. Barney's influence spread rapidly, and soon, every room was filled with the grotesque forms of living dinosaur suits. As the congregation completed their task, Barney stood in the center of the glowing circle, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction.
This is just the beginning, Anya. Silver 7 will soon know the true meaning of despair.
Anya nodded, her smile stretching impossibly wide. She was ready to follow Barney's every command, to spread his malevolent influence across the planet. The future of Silver 7 was shrouded in darkness, and Anya was at the heart of it all, a willing pawn in Barney's twisted game.